Don't make this mistake if he seems to be pulling away. I'm sure you've experienced this before, and we're going to dive into this conversation of what is actually going on inside a man or a woman when they begin to pull away. Now, we have to first recognize that dating is very complicated today because we no longer live in tribes. We no longer live in environments where we actually know the person we're engaging with. If we look back 60 to hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago, most everybody mated within the tribe they were in. They actually had they had no degree of separation, or at best 1 degree of separation. Now, today, we're meeting total strangers, and dating can be rather complicated, which is why these conversations about pulling away show up. See, dating is a vetting process to determine if you're compatible with another person, if they're capable enough of being in relationship. And honestly, dating is about getting to the truth of another person. Sit with that for a second. Think about the word truth, to actually know this other person, to get to their truth. And it's rather scary today getting to someone's truth because there's a lot of people out there that have a shady past, shady experiences. They're not very altruistic. They can be broken. They can be selfish. I recognize that this being very complicated. So a lot of dating advice out there could be rather confusing. And you might ask yourself, if a man seems to be pulling away, and you notice him pulling away, should I text him? That's a question that's often asked. Should I text a man if he's pulling away? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. Should I chase a man who seems to be pulling away? I'm not a big proponent of chasing someone, but you see, chasing could also be confused with making effort. See, ladies, it's not unhealthy to make effort. Chasing means somebody is running away and you're going after them. Now, you might be saying, well, Jonathon, they're pulling away. If I'm going after, that's chasing. No, making effort is not the same as chasing. Now, I know a lot of dating advice will tell you when a man pulls away, you should just go live your own life. You should just show how fabulous your life is on social media. Let him know what he's missing out on. Do you realize how ridiculous that advice is? That to intentionally activate someone, like that's like, first off, we should always be living our best lives. I mean, ideally, that would be the case. But then to plaster it all on social media to get a reaction from them, that's not a healthy, thing to do. But maybe you can do that, who knows? So what is pulling away? What is pulling away? Pulling away is the space to get centered, and more importantly, to detach and reflect on the merits of this experience. See, it's natural for a human to pull away a little bit when there's a level of uncertainty, there's a level of too much enmeshment. And this is really tricky for men because here's the challenge for men. We have been conditioned to climb to the highest room of the tallest tower to prove our worth for a woman. Bum, bum, bum. There's almost this expectation narrative that we're supposed to romance you, that we're supposed to give you a good time, that we're the leaders of the relationship. When the truth is, oftentimes all of those experiences is just to get into a woman's pants. I mean, let's be real. All that gigantic effort a man makes to a total stranger is because we're sexually attracted to you for the most part. I'm certainly there are altruistic men out there, but when a man love bombs, I mean, let's be clear, that's because he has one single motive for sexual pleasure, or maybe actually more than one motive, because there are a lot of men that look at women as a conquest. So it might be that physical attraction, but to somehow there's this almost deviant part to some men, that the conquest, because and ladies, you've heard how men love competition. Well, a conquest is part of competition. So be careful of listening to a lot of dating rhetoric out there that suggests that these men all have an altruistic, component to them. So coming back to pulling away, let's face it, the dating dance is kind of like a seesaw. You're making effort, you're allowing them to make effort. They make effort, you make effort. It's this seesaw. And in that seesaw, you might have glitches that occur. You might notice a difference. You might recognize that they eat their peas with a fork. They have man hands, that they're a close talker. I'm doing a Seinfeld thing. He seemed to always pull away based on some ridiculous reason, but there's actual reasons why you might feel a need to pull away. And let me explain in a moment. My coffee mug says swear a little, you'll feel better. By the way, this is piping hot. So coming back to my point, see, there's a lot of uncertainty in the early stage of dating that we don't know about the other person. And let me just add to that. All of our past experiences play a part in this. And I will tell you, men, not all men, but a lot of men think women are crazy. Okay. They think they're irrational, that they're inconsistent, that they're crazy. I've heard this from man after man after man. They believe that women are crazy, unpredictable. I'm not saying all men, I'm just saying a lot of men. So there's this uncertainty that happens. And the minute we see a behavior that reminds us of a different person, automatically there's a judgment. She's narcissistic. She's bipolar. She's borderline personality. She's too masculine. She's too weak. All of these factors play into our decision-making process that might cause us to pause for a moment. Because what is pulling away? See, I'm not saying disappear. I'm not saying end the relationship. I'm merely talking about pull away. And in some cases, it's strictly a momentary energetic need for space. I'm going to repeat that. It's a momentary energetic need for space. So what you don't want to do in these particular cases is make a snap judgment about what's happening. Don't make a snap judgment about what's happening. Depending on how much time you've spent connecting with a person, and I'm going to say more than 3 dates. Anybody who pulls away in the first couple dates, let me reframe that. Before physical intimacy, we're in this, it's like a job interviewing process, and we decide we've interviewed the prospect once or twice and they're not a good fit for us. Ladies, you're doing the same evaluation as well. But you might want to ask yourself, as you've done this evaluation in this person, what qualities about this person do I admire? Ask yourself, what qualities in this person you admire that might be a reflection of what you would like within yourself? Why do you want this relationship to work? When they're pulling away and you're asking yourself, why do you want this relationship to work? Just recognize that if someone pulls away for good, if it's not right for one, it's not right for both. Relationships are a plate. Well, I'll go into that in a second. So let's come back to he needs space and what could be happening. If it's a temporary pulling back from an energetic perspective, then it simply means he's evaluating. Now, these days, because people don't date from an exclusive or monogamous perspective, oftentimes we find ourselves in hooking up situationships, friends with benefits, situationships, and casual relationships. Because of that, sometimes people are evaluating more than one person at a time. I know so many dating coaches that are encouraging women in particular to be dating multiple men at the same time. But if women are dating multiple men at the same time and men are dating multiple women at the same time, how are we even really connecting? How do we give each other, let me reframe that. How are we accurately getting to the truth of another human being when we're spread out so thin? Now, I'm not talking about before meeting someone. You could be communicating with multiple people at the same time, but the minute you engage with someone and you see them more than 3 or 4 times, I'm the believer of investing in one person at a time. Because here's the coming back to the snap judgment. Maybe that person temporarily pulled away because they're talking to 3 other people, because we don't know if you're talking to 3 other people. I mean, this is the chaos that's going in the dating marketplace today. It's because I believe people aren't approaching the process with a long-term mating strategy. Bump, bump, bump. See, dating today is a very most people have a short-term mating strategy. Let's have a good time. Let's focus on having a good time. Let's just have a good time. Or some people are in the dating marketplace because they're deeply wounded and they want that validation from another human being. And what effectively happens these days is most people are dating as a replacement to therapy. There, I said it. A lot of people dating today, it's a replacement for therapy. It's sad, but it's true. And I know this from personal experience because my first couple of years after my divorce, I was a gigantic train wreck. Hey, it's 11:11. I was a gigantic train wreck. And most of my communication, which eventually turned into my vocation, which I'm grateful for, was just a replacement for therapy. See, relationships are a place for individual growth. And relationships trigger our need for deeper healing. And relationships for a lot of people are short-lived, but for some people it actually goes the distance, because do they have a short-term mating strategy or a long-term mating strategy? So I can speak for myself right now. What I'm about to share publicly is my truth. I would like to get remarried. I would like to get remarried. I'm very crystal clear about that. I wasn't that way shortly after my divorce. There was a period of time where I would say to women, I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm not looking for anything serious. When a person isn't looking for serious, then they can be ambiguous in the way they approach the process. And so when they take space, it's because they're operating from a place of uncertainty. Men who are serious about commitment, men who are serious about a relationship, they might take space, but you'll never know about it. You'll never know about it, because in our time apart, it's our time to evaluate. But you see, when people don't have a long-term mating strategy, they have a short-term mating strategy of only having their needs being met. By the way, if you haven't seen my chart, the 3 people actively dating, this is not a fact, it's merely an opinion. Roughly 20% of the population are users. They have a short-term goals. They're love bombers. They're players. They're gold diggers. They're entitled people, selfish people. They only care about their own needs. And while I say over here, are the grower builders, those grower builders, they seek long-term commitment. They're emotionally grown up. They have good relationship skills. They have their act together. I say it's 20% of the population. I'm just speculating here. This is not a fact. But most everybody you will find in the dating marketplace are what I call spenders. They seek connection, companionship, sex. They have no direction, uncertainty, fearful, usually have a dysfunctional life. They spend time with you. Why they're called spenders. You're simply a placeholder. Ladies, it's important, men or women alike, it's important to recognize that 80% of the population are probably users or spenders. This requires you to operate from a place of due diligence. From a place of discernment. One of the things I do in my private coaching, there's a link below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you, is to uncover, to determine if you're really compatible with one another. And I'm an advocate for vulnerability, authenticity, and transparency, what I call radical honesty, pre-qualifying your prospect. Why is this so critically important to engage in this type of approach? Because guess what? People pull away when they're uncertain. How do we clarify uncertainty? Is by being more intentional in the process, to be more forthright, to be more mindful of compatibility. If you haven't seen my relationship iceberg chart, Most people, if you please forgive the glare, most people focus on chemistry, attraction, and not enough on shared values, shared vision, blendable lifestyle, and emotional capacity or emotional maturity. That's where compatibility lies. I'm here to be an advocate for more of an intentional way to approach the process because I don't want you to make the mistake of a snap judgment until you've actually find out what's really going on the inside. So when a guy pulls away, ask, what's going on? Hey, I sense you pulling away. If you're not interested anymore, have the fucking balls to say it. Oops, I said a dirty word in my when I'm not supposed to do it during these Sunday videos. Please forgive me. Folks, I'm here to encourage a more grown up way to approach the dating process, to do it from an intentional way, to do it from a discerning way. Read all the books I recommend. There's a list below to get all the books I recommend because this will make a big difference. Don't listen to the dating rhetoric out there to go live your best life and show it off on social media. Who cares? What matters most is showing up vulnerable, authentic, and transparent in the early process so you can build the deep roots of trust. And the way you're going to do that is through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life. Yes, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy, instead of spending all day on your phone. How's your day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Do it in real time, in person, and not over the phone. All right, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this video. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. Also, hit that notification bell on your phone as well. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to get all the books I recommend, all listed below. All right, I'm going to sign off this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathon bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.